The commander's laugh echoed across the training yard before anyone else dared to make a sound. Dozens of soldiers stood in perfect formation beneath the blazing afternoon sun, their boots planted firmly in the dust. At the center of the line stood a young female soldier whose foreign accent had turned a simple introduction into an unexpected spectacle. A few soldiers lowered their heads, hiding their smiles. Others openly laughed. Even the commander folded his arms and shook his head. "You expect me to believe someone who can barely pronounce our commands is ready for this assignment?" he asked. She didn't answer. She simply met his eyes with a calm expression that revealed nothing. No anger. No embarrassment. Only patience. Because she already knew something that no one else on that base could possibly imagine. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening." The silence around her felt heavier than the equipment every soldier carried. Dust drifted through the warm air while distant helicopter blades chopped across the horizon. Every heartbeat seemed louder than the last. Private Elena Marin had spent months earning the right to stand on that parade ground. Every early morning run, every bruised hand, every sleepless night had led to this moment. Yet none of those sacrifices mattered to the people staring at her now. To them, she was simply the soldier with the strange accent. What they couldn't see was the weight she carried beneath the uniform. Years earlier, she had been raised in a country devastated by conflict. She had learned different languages not from classrooms, but from survival. Every unusual word she spoke carried memories of checkpoints, whispered warnings, and families forced to disappear before sunrise. The commander judged her voice. He never thought to ask where it came from. Just as he prepared to dismiss her from the exercise, alarms suddenly erupted across the command center. A classified convoy had vanished only 30 miles from the base. Communications were jammed. Reconnaissance drones had gone silent. No satellite could identify who was responsible. Within minutes, senior officers rushed into the operations room, their faces drained of color. Maps covered every table. Radio operators searched desperately for a signal. Then an intercepted transmission crackled through the speakers. The room froze. No one understood the language. One officer tried. Another guessed. Every translation failed. Until Elena quietly stepped forward. "I understand it." The room turned toward her. She listened for only a few seconds before her expression changed. "They're not discussing an attack," she said calmly. "They're preparing an extraction. They have hostages, and they're moving before sunrise." The commander stared at her in disbelief. "How do you know that?" She hesitated. Because revealing the truth would expose the mission she had protected for years. "I wasn't sent here to become your best recruit," she finally answered. "I was sent here because I lived among them." The room fell completely silent. Every laugh from earlier suddenly felt painfully distant. What none of them knew was that Elena had spent years working deep undercover before voluntarily enlisting under a classified intelligence program. Her accent had never been a weakness. It was the key that unlocked conversations no one else could understand. Within the hour, rescue teams moved with perfect coordination. Guided by Elena's translations and knowledge of local terrain, soldiers advanced through narrow valleys and abandoned villages before surrounding the hidden compound without firing a single unnecessary shot. When the final hostage stepped safely into the morning light, even the hardest veterans lowered their heads in quiet respect. Back at the base, the commander approached Elena without an audience. "I judged your voice," he admitted. "You were listening for mistakes." She answered gently. "You should have been listening for experience." He offered the first salute. This time, every soldier followed. No applause. No speeches. Only respect that had finally been earned. Because courage rarely arrives wearing the face people expect. Sometimes it speaks with an unfamiliar accent. Sometimes the strongest voice in the room is the one everyone almost ignored. Because true strength is never measured by how someone sounds, but by what they choose to protect. And just like the quiet soldier standing alone beneath the afternoon sun, the greatest truths often wait patiently until the world is finally ready to hear them. If this story moved you, leave a comment sharing what part stayed with you the most. Subscribe for more cinematic stories of courage and compassion. And remember, every voice carries a story worth hearing.